Hello, everybody. It's February 8th, 2025, 214 Square. We're talking again about the German parliamentary election, and we are 15 days away from Election Day in Germany. And here are some news that may affect the election. First of all, there was a debate between the six major parties in Germany. And when we say major parties, we don't just talk about CDU, CSU, and SPD. We are also talking about FDP, Bündnis Grüne, Linke, AfD, and BSW. The topics there were immigration and economy, and well, it was an intense one and an interesting one. How it may affect the election, we don't know yet, but I guess some people were influenced. Then, Germany's exports in 2024 shrunk by 1%, imports by 2.8%. And why is this important? Well, Germany is a big exporter. They are an export economy, and this will so affect economy and labor, most likely. Then, Trump administration attempts to drastically reduce US development aid and probably shut down US aid. This will affect foreign policy, and because the USA are one of the major um, funds givers for aid, well, this will probably have an effect on the state of the development in several countries, on how pandemics and so on will be treated, but also probably have an effect on immigration and migration. Then, current state of the polls. So, while we have seen no huge impact from the last debate about migration and the voting together with the AfD for the CDU CSU, we can see that there's also no effect for the AfD, not a big one. And well, after short uptake, the SPD has now reduced the numbers. It is partly aligned with the Greens, but now even the Greens go down. But who is winning? Well, this is the Linke, the left party in Germany. At the same time, the BSW is losing steam. And the FDP, by the way, is not really moved. But we will have a focus on that. But first, let's see the polling trends for each party. And here you can see the CDU CSU is going down straight below the 30%. Same time, AfD is going up closer to the 25%, but this is still a long way. And then SPD slightly improving, slightly. Doing better are the Greens, but still not enough to be that significant as they desire. Then BSW, the Bündnis Sahra Wagenknecht, well, they also have a downturn. You can see this here from a bit above 5%. They are now always scratching the line. And the FDP barely moving, always around 4%. And now here is the interesting point. You can see it. Die Linke is going up, also slightly, and it will be interesting to see if they will make it above the 5% threshold. But let's go to look deeper. Here we have to focus on Linke and BSW trends. We have zoomed in, and here you can see how both compare. BSW, the offspring, or if you call it the insurrects from the left around Sahra Wagenknecht, and the Linke itself. And here you can see the Linke is going up from around 2.5% to now almost 5%. At the same time, the BSW had over 6 point, maybe 4% down to 5%. So they are almost meeting. Not exactly, but they are almost meeting there. And maybe, based on this, how far it accelerates, the Linke could overtake the BSW. Then we can also look on the poll numbers. And here we can see that there is from time to time a little exchange or a meeting between who is ahead in the polls. Most of the time it's the BSW, but you can see the further we go to election day that in that case um, the linker is getting closer to the BSW and is sometimes overtaking the BSW. In other words, the linker is doing better during this election campaign than the BSW. Then let's also see the polling numbers, and here you can also see some variation. So these are all the polls that we have collected since the breakup of the coalition between SPD, FDP, and the Greens. And you can at least see the most variation is visible when you look at CDU CSU. And well, the least variation you can see with the FDP. And well, everything else goes really aligned with the trends that we can see in the polls. So most variation in the CDU, CSU, and Linke. We must highlight this here. From time to time, Linke wasn't included in the polls. And this is why from time to time you can see that the Linke has a value on the zero line. So what does it mean for the seat allocation? So here we can see in this bar chart that at the moment the CDU-CSU would have 35% of the seats in parliament. And we are only using the poll numbers here. There's no difference, by the way, between the first and the second vote that you have in Germany. Then SPD 19%, Bündnis 90 Die Grüne 14%, 6% for Die Linke, AfD 25%, BSW 7%. Not in parliament is at the moment the FDP. This was one of the government parties of parties forming the government around Christian Lindner. So what are the possible coalitions? So either CDU, CSU, and SPD, again a große Koalition or great coalition with 45%, or though the CDU and CSU say they will not do this, let's consider this would be an opportunity, not an opportunity, but an option for them. CDU, CSU, and AfD, 60%. But now let's see the most recent aggregated poll and the change. Again, the CDU, CSU is losing slightly, but they are losing. They are now below 30%. But also losing is the SPD. They lost more than 1%. Unchanged FDP. Then the big winner here are the Greens. More than 1.5%. Same with the Linke, now in parliament, unlike the FDP, 5.1%. And who lost? Well, more than 1% lost for the AfD. No votes for the free voters, or not enough. And then 4.8% for BSW. They are now out of parliament, lost more than 1%. So we also have the numbers here. Seat allocation in parliament based on aggregated polls. 90% for the SPD, 35% for the CDU-CSU, 16% for the Greens, 6% for the Linke, 25% for the AfD. So there's not much change. But at the moment, the BSW is no longer in parliament. And it also has an effect on who could coalesce with whom. So mostly unchanged. We have CDU, CSU, SPD, and CDU, CSU, AfD. But also another option would be CDU, CSU with Bündnis 90 Die Grüne. They would have together 51%. If we use the aggregated polls, if this is right, we will see during the election. But don't worry, forecasts are coming next week. And then a tool recommendation. After the Realomat, there's now the Wahlomat. This is something offered by a German government institution, and they are letting you vote or not vote, decide on which part of a program or agenda of a party um, sounds favorable to you, or if you agree on a specific topic, and then it shows you who is which party is right for you. So, and here the next episodes. So next week we will have election forecast. This is the last episode before the election. Then we have the election weekend. There will be no episode. And then after the election, we have the last episode on the German election this year. And then we will have some election analysis. And we will also look back, if we already have the numbers, on my forecasts. And again, this is me, Christian Grump, Georgia Tech dropout, Quantic School of Business Technology, EMBA, Bielefeld University Social Science, and CFA certificates from Canada. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you like, subscribe, like the video, and we will see you next week. Thank you.